Hi everyone, welcome to the BISP Solutions. My name is Anjali and today we will continue with the workforce planning. We are doing this workforce planning in the enterprise planning and budgeting cloud services. So without wasting time, let's get started. So I have already logged in with the application. Now we are on the final stage in the workforce planning life cycle to see the calculations exactly. So we have a source document, like from where we need to match the data. That is the requirement document of a bank. You can see this. So we will be matching all the figures with this file. Here are the basic salaries included with the allowances. Allowances included the transport allowance, accommodation allowance, and then we have the responsibility allowance. So as per the file, we have selected all these things. If there are anything left to be said, then we'll take the figures from here, like 2.5% increment we need to apply, and accordingly the salary calculations will be done. So what we have done till now, we have taken this average basic salary. So basically this is the actual figure we have, and then if we see in the third sheet, that is in the payroll budget, so after increment we get the figures. 2.5 increment will be applied here. We have already seen the calculation how this figure come. So in short, the 12 months calculation will be combinedly giving us this figure, that is 830,39342. So there we have already selected the salary grades, and after that in the 7.4 sheet there is already benefits rates are mentioned. Like if we talk about the pension contribution for this staff, not bank, because we are calculating for the workforce. So we have already considered this 3% of gross salary excluding transport allowance. So first I'll show everything here in the Excel sheet, then after that we'll come back in the application and we'll configure the figures. And medical contribution should be 15%. By mistake it has been changed, let me change. Yes, it is 15%, and maternity leave is 0.3% of gross salary excluding the transport allowance. So what we will do here, we'll take the calculations like basic salary plus all the allowances plus all the perquisites excluding transport. That means we will not include the transport allowance, and then on that figure it should be 0.3%. So accordingly these calculation will be done. So let's see in the application. So after we load historical data and rest of the things, then the next thing is we will see how to add a new employee in the company. So that will be called a hiring requisition raise. We are raising a request for the hiring requisition. So how to raise a requisition for a new hiring, new joining. So that we will see in the data form of workforce planning. In the previous session I have shown you how we can add that, but today I am again going to show that because we need to see all the calculations together. So first step is we made a requisition. Then there are one option of status. So in the status it should be whether the status of this employee will be on hold till then the final approval, or it could be approved, or it could be active or disactive or inactive. So any status we want to see, we need to mention there about the employee. So first is raising requisition, then we run three rules. We run three rules basically there. What are those rules? For calculation for the employee salary calculation, So what basically these rules are: first we synchronize the defaults, we synchronize the compensation. Actually what happened there in the application, first we define the salary grades. Okay, so according to the salary grades, the salary will be provided to the employee. So after that we have mentioned the benefits and taxes. So in the benefits and taxes we have mentioned the allowances and some other things which are provided to the employee. Allowances are transport allowance, accommodation allowance and the responsibility allowance. Rest other things also we can add, but we are running according to the requirement document, that is the bank sheet. So this is the requirement document of the bank, so accordingly we will work. So after add the employee, after adding the new hiring requisition, we run these rules, synchronize the so that all the things which we have selected like in the defaults and compensation will be synchronized at one place and we get the exact correct calculation. So synchronize the compensation, defaults and then final calculate the compensation. So these rules we are going to run here. So yes, so we are doing the same thing today and let's see how it works in the application. So we are already here in the application. I just want to use the same thing, same instance in another browser. So let me check it. Just give me 5 minutes. Because my instance was not able to work there in that browser, so I'm just changing the browser only. And before getting the final calculation, just give me a second, guys. Yes. So here I am going to click on application first and go to the configure, and from here click on the workforce module. If anything left in the configuration part, so we will do that. So till now what we have done, we have loaded the employee metadata, entity metadata, job metadata, skill set. If we have a skill set, then we can load that also, union code, and then employee demographic, employee properties, everything we have already loaded. And if you have the age band or gender and highest education degree metadata, so that also you can load here specifically. Then component already done. Then in the salary grades we have defined the salary. So basically in the initial sessions I have shown you that I have selected here the annual salary basis as annual. So if I choose annual, so what figure I should take here? Here I need to take this total, that is from January to December. This is the total figure, this is the annual figure. So 83039,342. But if I change it, I want to see it in a monthly basis, so I can change it monthly, and here the monthly figure will be choose. So 6919945, this is the monthly figure. We will select the same, and after that in the second grade, this is the second grade, 3367,550. This was the figure for the actual one. Now I am just going to add just 2.5% of increment so that I will get the 345 and 739 figure. So I directly mentioned that so that we get the calculations accordingly. Now let me add one more grade from here, and whatever grades we mention, accordingly the calculation took place, so it should be selected wisely. Okay, now here I am going to choose annually. So in the grade 3, this is actual is 2230,407, and again if we see the sheet, HR sheet, so 2.5% increment need to be provided in the basic salary. So 2230,407, I think the figures are wrongly taken here. Why? Because if I take 2.5% increment in 2230,407, so what should be the correct one? Let me write here 2230,407, 2230,407, and let's add the 2.5% of increment with this, so it should be this, and now let's add this. So the value should be 2286,167. This is the monthly budget, and if I want to see the annual budget, so annual basic salary will be this. Okay, so annually the figure should be 27434,006, and let me change this also, 27434,006. Sorry, not there. Here I need to take 2286,167 because this is the monthly figure, and the same I'll be copying to all the months. So then the figure should be 27434,004, 006 or 004. Maybe due to the round off, just one digit has been changed. So yeah, 27434. This is the correct figure. Now we are only discussing here the three grades, and accordingly we check the calculations. Okay, so now let's go back to the application, and here my final figure should be 27434,006. Or maybe we can take the exact figure 004. So just need to define the correct salary basis, and accordingly we get the calculations. So now let's save this, close this. Salary grades are done. Now the next thing is we need to define the benefits and taxes also. So I have already mentioned everything here according to this file. Let me just show you. So here in the filter we can change the things, like I can change the scenario, I can change the version, and I can change the benefits, taxes and additional earnings. So if I click here, there are a few options, like apart from benefits I can go with the additional earnings as well as the taxes. So first let's see the benefits only. So there are three benefits have been defined, that is the medical contribution, staff provident fund and the maternity leave. Okay, so if I want to see how we can incorporate this medical benefit, so first I need to choose the component type. It should be rate table and threshold. It can be simple, it can be rate table only, it can be custom also. So let's go with the simple, and from here we will be choosing the payment terms. This is monthly fiscal I have choose here, although I can go with any other payment terms as well, but I want to give it to monthly according to my sheet. And here the value type which we need to select. So it can be flat amount, it can be percentage of salary, it can be percentage of overall earnings, and it can be percentage of flat amount FTE ratio. So when I need to take only basic salary percent, so I will be choosing percentage of salary. But if I need to select the gross salary, not only basic salary, if I want basic salary plus allowance plus perquisites plus any other bonuses and commission, so in that case I need to select the percentage of overall earnings. So accordingly we will select the things. The value type is percentage of salary, and here we need to define the threshold, the maximum value type. So again we want the percentage of salary. Threshold is scope, that will be monthly, or that can be monthly or YTD. So I am choosing here the monthly. And taxable component, so let's not make it a taxable component because this is a medical contribution. So let's click here no, then click on save and go to the next option, that is click on next, and here we need to specify the percentage basically. So we have already defined that whatever we enter here, that will be the percentage of basic salary. So this 15% will be applied directly on the basic salary. And click on save, and then click on next. So the rule, there is a rule automatically running behind the engine, because this is a predefined application, so the rules are running automatically. So many business rules are available for calculation purpose. Otherwise, if we do the custom workforce planning, so we are creating our own customized rules. But here, because this is a EPBCS application, so the rules are automatically specified there. We just need to run that rule. Okay, this is very simple. So just enter the percentage and then click on save. So it is done. And if you want to check it, like if it is applied for every year or not, so just click here. You can see it is not only run for 24, 24, 25, 26, 27 and then 28. So whatever the final year of the application, it will apply for every year. Now let's close from here and again go to the staff provident fund. And why I have taken there the 15%, let me show you that again. So here in the medical contribution of basic salary, this is specified, that's why I have chosen 15%. Now if talking about the provident fund, so it should be 3% of the basic salary. So again click on provident fund, simple, monthly fiscal will be the percentage term, again percentage of salary. Even I can go with the flat amount also, but that I'll choose in the allowances. Okay. Now click on the taxable component. So whether we want to make it a taxable component, yes, so you can choose on yes. Okay. Now click on save and click on next. So once it is done, we need to specify the percentage exactly. So yes, it is 3%, because here already mentioned the provident fund is 3% of basic salary. So yes, click on save and click on next. So you can see we have clearly specified the rate of the benefit as well as the threshold. That means it should not be more than this basically this 3% of basic salary. Okay, so this will be the rate and threshold. Then click on save. So the data has been saved. We have already run for these 3 rules. Now click here and you can change it to the additional earnings. Now what come in the additional earning? Let's see. So this is all about the benefits. Now let's see what additional earnings we have. So we have transport allowance, accommodation allowance and responsibility allowance. And if I need to calculate the gross salary, so it will be average basic salary plus average transport allowance plus average accommodation allowance and then plus responsibility allowance. So everything will be combinedly form a average gross salary. Okay. Now after this, go back to the application and close this. Let me check it quickly that is it correct or not, and I'm showing you how you can take for the flat figure also, not percentage is required every time. You can even change that, the value type. So this is simple, this is monthly fiscal, and the value type you can go with the flat amount, percentage of salary, and then flat amount FTE ratio. So suppose I need to choose the flat amount, because in my sheet there is no percentage is defined for this allowances. So I'm directly choosing the flat amount. So my flat amount should be for the accommodation allowance, it should be, this is the transport allowance, sorry, let's see the accommodation. This should be 22,97,388. This is also after 2.5 increment we are seeing. This is the actual figure, and after 2.5 increment we are getting 22,97,388. So just click on flat amount and then click on earning type. So basically this is we want add to gross pay. If we don't want that this figure should be added to gross pay, then we can choose this second one. So just click here, click on save and then click on next. Okay, so now you can clearly see I have already predefined these things before the session so that we can directly see the calculation. So I have entered manually here 22,97,388. This is the exact figure for the accommodation. Then I click on save and then click on next. So this is already done. Similarly, I have applied this for responsibility and transport. Let's quickly check it. The flat amount added to gross pay. Then next. So the responsibility should be 2,002,991. So exactly I have applied all these figures. Click on save and then click on next. One more thing you need to take in mind every time you select this. Go to the previous one. From here the entity should be correctly selected. Otherwise, if you mention these things in any other entity and you were trying to search in other entities, so it will be difficult to add things, right? So you can change it and it should be the exact entity. Then click on save and click on next and then close. So it is already done. Now let's close. Or one more thing, you can go back here and see the benefits and after additional earnings. Go to the taxes also, click on apply. Here are 4 taxes. We will be taking 2 taxes, that is state income tax and federal income tax. So in my sheet I guess there is taxes are not defined. So what we can do, we will be taking 10%. Okay. There is something has been written, that is taxes on salaries and payment of net salaries and other benefits. So pay tax is approximately being paid as an effective rate of 30%. Okay, and payment for taxes made in arrears. So they just want to give the taxes in arrears. So let's choose from here also. Now when I come to the tax portion, so basically my value type will be percentage of taxable earnings. So whatever the amount, like gross salary including all the things, allowances and basic salary plus allowance plus perquisites and every other thing which we need to take in the gross salary. After that we need to apply the percentage for the tax calculation. So here I am going to select percentage of taxable earnings. Similarly here also, and if I want to pay it monthly, so just choose monthly, otherwise you can go with the YTD. Okay, then click on save and then the next step is click on next. So when it is done, I have applied 10% normally, so we will take in mind, just for the sake of calculation, we will check that if it is successfully applied 10% or not. So just click on save and then click on next. I have already written in my calculation sheet that the tax percent is 10 for the taxable earnings, and then 12 if talking about the federal income tax, so it will be 12% of the taxable earnings. So let me show you that also, that is federal income tax, percentage of taxable earnings, then next. So here I have selected 12% for every year, then click on save, then next, and then after final save, this is 12% of taxable compensation, and threshold is also same. It should not be more than this threshold limit. Now let's click on close from everywhere and just quickly refresh the database. If you want to check it that whether you forget to configure anything, you can come again. Here are some non-compensation expenses also, like training expense, and if you want to add, you can just click here and click on add. So your training expense and other things are also visible there. Right now I don't think so it is needed, so let's escape. You can even load the metadata file for this, and rest of the things like regarding the merit rates, the performance metrics, we have already defined. So let's close this. After the performance metrics, we have selected the merit rates. So here are our merit rates. It is already done. Now close. Now one more thing, we need to check in the planning and preparation, forecast preparation window, that what will be the plan here, because right now November is going on. So the period I have specified, that is November, and I can choose November or any other month as well from when I need to start the planning. Okay, I can choose the next year also. So if I want to start the planning next fiscal year, so I can select this. Okay, We can later on change it also, but it is highly recommended to choose it wisely so that there will be no gap in the calculation. So everything is, I guess everything is done successfully. Now let's click on database refresh once so that we can see all the things correctly. Let's directly now I'm moving towards the final data forms. Where we can check how the business rules are working. So let's close this. Click on workforce compensation planning. Let's wait to open this. And now here in the default and assumptions, we'll be checking it once again, that is the everything is successfully completed or not. So right now I have done this for 2 jobs, that is analyst and developer. One more thing, before coming here, just check in the user preference that in the variables are okay. There is biggest error is there are no variables selected, or maybe somebody has changed the settings. So what we can do, just selecting it quickly so that we can see everything there in the data forms, otherwise we can't see the changes. This is very important because it is just like whenever we are working on SmartFlow, so we are selecting an intersection just to load the metadata or data in the correct place where it should be. So similarly here also we define everything, that do we want to see the 0 level descendants or normal descendants. So for the members we are selecting this. So let me remove all, and then from here just select the level 0 descendants for everything. Now after that, in the reporting currency also, I am first removing everything and then just going to take the level 0 descendants. Then in the scenario also I am going to select level 0 descendants. I don't know how it gets changed, maybe somebody has simultaneously working with this, but it should always be predefined, right? So if I choose the level 0 descendants, automatically everything will be visible there, otherwise we can't see the single member. Again for the employee also I have selected the 0 level descendants, and then for the job also level 0 descendants, and then go to the employee parent. Here also level 0 descendants, and in the period also I am selecting level 0 descendants. Click on save. Now the next thing, click on user preferences, user variables, and everything which we want there we can select it. So we can change the period from January to current period November, or if we want to see the calculation from January, then we can keep it as it is. We can change the job of the employee. Jobs are those jobs which we have predefined. Okay. Suppose I want to see this for developer, so I can change it. Let's look at for developer. Employee will be E0001. Rest everything is correct. Entity is also marketing US. Then click on save. And now the next thing is go to the workforce and compensation planning. So first thing is default. So here you can see I have defined only for grade 1. If I want to do it for grade 2, that also we can do, but the salary will be calculating according to the grades we defined here. We can even change this. If I want to make it for grade 1, I can do that. Data has been saved. Similarly, additional earnings. So additional earnings, accommodation allowance is already selected here. Just right click to adding other things as well. After accommodation, responsibility allowance. Then the union code, I am going to choose UC001 only. Then job. So we are doing it for the developer post. And then option 1. So these are the runtime prompts which we are mentioning here, so automatically it will work whatever we choose here. Then after that the transport allowance, then the union codes, then in the job select the specified job. So like this analyst, we have done this additional earning settings for this developer also. Click on save, so everything gets saved. Now go to the benefits. Again we'll be adding the staff provident fund and maternity leave as well. Union code. Once again right click and maternity leave. Option 1. So now everything is defined, I guess, except the taxes. So let's do it for taxes also. So right now for the developer, I have only done the state income tax. Now let's add one more tax, that is federal income tax. Union code is UC001. Job is developer. Tier we can select, but let's go with the no tier. And this also I want to take it in the no tier option. So this all settings we have done for developer, marketing US, working version, plan scenario, and the no tier and option 1. Now after setting all these defaults, go to the assumptions. So this will be work accordingly. We are selecting everything, we define everything, the grades, the assumptions, defaults, the taxes, additional earnings, benefits, everything. So if everything is correct, then only we get the correct calculation. This is also in the marketing US. Let's change the merit month also. Suppose I want to give it from February. And the date also. Accordingly, we see the calculations in the sheet. Let's click on save. So this is the general page. Now move on to the salary grades. Okay, because this is a different entity. Okay, so here it is already mentioned because we have done this in the configuration portion. So let's click on save. Then merit rates. This is already correct. Let's take 0 here. Rather than choosing the blank, let's make 0. Click on save. Now if everything correctly selected, then click on the manage employee option. Here I have already added one requisition in the previous session, and here you can see the total compensation of this. You can see even the merit month also, and 1 head count, and then the hiring status of this employee. Okay, now just right click here. We can change the requisition from here, or run those 3 rules. First rule is synchronize calculation. Synchronized definition was successful. First rule is synchronized definition. Basically the full name is synchronized component definition. Second one is synchronized default. And the third rule is calculate compensation. So after running this rule, we get every calculation here. Okay. So the total salary including all the benefits, taxes, you can see clearly the taxes, merit month and everything. There is one more option is generally visible, that is for benefits. Right now this is not visible, so you can understand this in this way, that under the total salary it is included. This is not the basic salary. If this is the basic salary column, so maybe there is a only basic salary, but it is included the benefits and taxes, additional earnings also. Now after doing this, let's make this employee to the existing one. So we can directly change the requisition, or we can associate this employee with the existing one, so that the data of new hire will be visible here in the existing employee. And after that, the third window is for the employee master data. Let me run the rule in this way also. Okay, so if this optional comes, so you can choose the scenario, version, department, USD, job, like which job you are running this rule. So this is for the developer, so you can select it in this way, and then the employee also. Right now we have not associated this employee, but let's see what change we get here. Okay, only the status is visible, no issue. Now generally there is one option come like associate employee. I guess previously it was visible. Let's see for developer, position 1. See, every data will be visible here. Merit month also, he has joined in January or April, so the data will be available from there. The total head count is this, the total FTE is this, one employee has been joined. The employee type is regular, because 3 options were there. Like regular, contractor and temporary, so it could be anything, we can select accordingly. Now after that, you can see the pay type, the skill set, performance, applicable union codes, and then partial payment factor is 100%. And here you can see clearly the data of that particular employee, the compensation. So right now, I don't know why, but generally everything is visible, like the accommodation allowance, the medical benefits. Maybe the application gets tempered, somebody else is performing any activity, so that you can only see the state income tax or federal income tax. So I am going to test this only, so that you can have an idea like how the calculation comes. So because we have shown everything there, so let me just show you how these figures arise. So if you see this in the payroll budget, because we have defined everything wisely, so according to the grade 2, this grade 2, what should be the monthly budget? 3, 4, 5 and 739. So yes, exactly, it is correct. The employee has been joined in the April month and it is 3, 4, 5 and 739. May, June, July, quarter 2 figure is this. Then you can expand it the quarter, and you can see the monthly figure, and the final data is 310,65651. Why it is not same? Because here we can see the data from January, but right now this employee has been joined from April, so we will be calculating from April. So if we go back to the calculations, the monthly figure is 3451. Let me write here the monthly figure, 3451 739. Okay, and this should be calculated from April. That means except quarter 1. So this should be multiplied with 9, so that we will be getting 9 months calculation, and the total should be 310,65651. Let's check. Yes, in the year total it is absolutely correct, 310,65651. So in this way we get the correct calculation. Now I need to check it why it is not visible, because we have already applied the business rules to synchronize every default, right? But it is not visible, so we'll check it. Till then you can check that we are getting the income tax and federal income tax, so it should be 10% according to our sheet. If I am not wrong, I can already writing here, the state income tax should be 10% of taxable earnings, and federal income tax should be 12% of taxable earnings. So this is calculated accordingly. So if I calculate 10% of this, multiply by 10%, so it should be 3451 739. So yes, it is also correct, because there are no benefits and additional earnings are visible. That is why it is only calculating directly on the basic salary. If there are the additional earnings and the benefits are visible, so it will be add up, and then it will be calculating accordingly, because we have selected the taxable earnings. Taxable earnings means whatever earnings are there on which the tax should be applied, the tax will be calculating on that income. Okay, not only the basic salary, it will be included the further benefits and additional earnings. Then we come here back, then federal income tax will be 12%. So let's select again and click here 12%. So it should be 414,208. Absolutely correct, right? And it should be calculated from the month when the employee joined the organization. Let's do it for the whole year. So it should be this multiplied by 9, because 9 months we need to see, 310,6565. So it is also correct. And then let's do it for another tax, that is federal income tax. So 3727878, absolutely correct. Yes, so in this way we see the calculation. Now let me show you one more sheet where I have performed this calculation for every allowance, as well as the medical contribution, provident fund, income tax, Medicare tax, everything, even the merit increase also. So there I joined the employee from October, and every calculation will be visible from October itself. So now if you want to compare this with the requirement sheet, this sheet, so let me compare it. Let's hide the between like from January to the blank columns I'm hiding for now, so that I can show you the calculation directly. Okay, so this we are talking about the grade 1. Grade 1 is 6919945, correct? And if I multiply 6, if I multiply this with 3, because I need to see the quarter 1, quarter 3 or quarter 4 figure, so it should be 20759836, correct? Yes. So whatever is correct, I am changing the color of that. Whatever is incorrect, we will be making it as a red color. Okay, so let's see how merit increase has been calculated here. So merit increase, you can see, and even you can change it in the application. Let me close this and reopen this. Okay. Employee details. No one is right now in the existing employee, that is why it's not visible. Okay, and from here you can change the percentage. So right, like here it is 2%, so the merit rate should be visible as 2%. If it is 5%, so accordingly it will calculate. So the merit rate, this was the different example. I don't know what merit rate should be there, was there. Maybe it was 2%, 5%, 10% according to the skills. So I'm just ignoring it for now, because I don't know what merit rate I have defined there at that time. But let's see it for the allowance, accommodation allowance. So go back to the requirement sheet. Okay, yes, so it should be 1230870. It is also correct. Basically what happens, sometimes by mistake you can enter this figure, like the transport allowance figure, in the accommodation, or the accommodation figure in the transport. So whatever you enter, you will be getting exactly that figure. That is the reason why in the accommodation I am getting the transport allowance figure, and this is the Q1 figure. Let's multiply this with 3, so I'll be getting the Q1 figure. Similarly, the responsibility allowance is 2002991. So if I want to see the Q4 calculation, so it should be 608973. Okay, there is something wrong. I just want to show you the same sheet so that we can compare the thing, because this is my previous sheet. So just want to show you how you can do the data validation. Let's find out the current sheet. And everything after the total final calculation will be visible here in the dashboard. This is the overview. So things are very easy to take decisions. Sometimes you need to take decisions with the help of compensation plans, compensation details according to every year, actual versus plan, headcount comparison, everything we can do here. And when we arrive here in the final analysis, so you can see the headcount and FTE trend, the review, how to review the headcount and FTE, then regular versus contractor. Everything will be available here. The total compensation analysis. Yes, here you can see clearly the basic salary, the taxes, and the taxes. Tax 1, tax 2, how many taxes we have taken there. Right now it is only showing you the basic salary and the taxes, but generally it is always showing the benefits and additional earnings. For this I can go back here in the configure and check it once again. Let me check it in the jobs, what business rules left behind to run. Every rule successfully run. There are no pending jobs, right? It is completed successfully. Still the benefits are not available. Just need to check that. Go back to the compensation planning. But at least you are now having an idea how we can add things, how we can see the benefits and taxes calculations, the final calculations arrive for an individual employee as well as for whole of the employees. I and here you can clearly see the merit month, from when is the date when we which is the date when we want to see the merit increment for the employee. Let's maximize this. From here even you can change the requisition also. Just click here, let's run the role again. Hiring requisition 1 and launch. Synchronizing definition. Maybe something needs to be checked once again, why the total benefits are not visible, but at least from this sheet you're having an idea if the configuration is correct, so the total benefit, allowance, everything is visible, right? Rule has been successfully run. Not only the single rule, we have done for others as well, like the synchronizing defaults, so that all the defaults will collect at one place and will give the result accordingly. And at last, calculate compensation. From here I can even change the status of the new joinee, but I want to associate this employee first. Here also we can see the process data and synchronize defaults. Under the total compensation, only it is taking the basic salary and the total tax compensation. So that we have already matched. The rate should be 2%. We have not defined any skill set, that is why it is taking 2%. Otherwise you can take that also. Also there are no skills are visible because we have not loaded the metadata for skills. Yeah, the grade is unassigned. So in the process data and synchronize default, you can check that if anything left to be saved or not. Process the updated data. All the new hiring requisitions are visible here till we associate it with the current employee. Only medical assumption is visible here. Here it is not visible. I don't know how it happened, but we have already run every rule, right? Here also. If we go with the no option, so let's see we getting the calculation or not. We can separately define the rate also. Okay, now go back to the manage employees. At least we have clearly see the calculation, how it took place, how the figures arrive here. Now the next thing which I want to show you, if you want to transfer any employee, or you want to retire, you want to change the status of the employee, then how you can do that I want to do. Okay, now let's see how we can associate the current employee with the existing one. So this is the existing employee option. We can associate this new employee with any existing employee. Let's associate with E0001 and launch. So now the details will be visible for the E0001 employee, because now we associated this with the existing one. There are no details visible. Now we move towards the existing details. So every detail are visible for the developer now here, and the name of the E0001 employee is Starcrow. Okay, now suppose I want to transfer this employee. So how we can do that? Just click here. We can transfer out in any another entity. So suppose he joined in February. I want to transfer in the month of August, and I can write here the comment and then click on launch. So automatically it will be out. The employee is not active for the specified transfer month, so we need to change the month. Let's make this employee first step is associate the employee with the existing one, then after that you can make transfers and everything else. Okay, so transfers and the resignations we will see tomorrow. Till then, let's practice till here for calculation of compensation and allowances, everything. So for now, I think it is done. I need to check whether the application is successfully running or not, because few things according to me is not visible. So let me check that, and the rest of the things we have already test all things, like how the basic salary arrives. Here we have already seen the calculations. So basically how the gross salary arrive, what needs to be added, what needs to be deduct, how we can calculate the taxable salary, how the taxes will be applied. So this is done in this way. Tomorrow I can repeat it once again, so that it will be more clear to you how the things arrive. For now, let's end the session, guys. Thank you so much for joining. If you need any, help, any doubts, so you can ask in the comment section, and you can always feel free to write us for the www.bispsolutions.com. So let me end the session. Thank you so much. Bye.